Our next panel discussion is about reaching consumers with data-driven advertising and marketing. I would like to invite again and again Fawzi Rahal, the moderator of the panel, and his esteemed panelists. Please join me welcoming them.
Hello again. I'd like to ask my panelists to please join me on stage. Fahad Almaghrabi, Digital Account Director at Initiative. Stewart Smith, Senior Sales Director at Sojern. And John Todary, Regional Commercial Director at Buzzeff. Can I please have a warm welcome for them? There we go. Thank you. I'm going to sit right here. Our panel is about reaching consumers with data-driven marketing. It more or less follows up on the presentation that was just shared. The only piece of data that I want to share from the panel description is that most marketers believe that their own data is being underutilized. And this seems to be the case across the board. And more brands and marketers are trying to find ways by which they can maximize on this data, how they can integrate with other entities. And before we talk about all of this, I just want to start by talking a little bit about big data and using data in marketing. I'm going to start with you, Fahad, from Initiative. If you can give us a little bit of information about what is this data that people don't know what to use?
Okay, when we talk about data, and what can be used for marketing, it's basically any data that you have for your customer or potential customers that you can utilize to run, let's say, an effective, efficient marketing activity.
Okay.
So it includes information about the customers or potential customers or their behavior online, things that they do, when are they doing it, and all kinds of information that is related to them in general or to their behavior online.
Okay. I'm going to forward the rest of the question to Stewart. Is there different kinds of those data? Is there data that changes, data that you can somehow predict? Do you categorize these in different ways? If I'm 20 years old today, would you be able to know that I'm 25 in 5 years? How does this data work for you guys?
So there's lots of different types of data, obviously. The two main buckets would probably be
I don't think the audience can hear you.
Can you hear me? Sorry. So the two main buckets would be probably deterministic data and...
Can you hear him? No.
Is it working?
It is working.
There we go. Okay. So the two main buckets are probably deterministic and probabilistic. So deterministic is kind of the data which you know. So it's age groups, it's gender. It could be, for example, in Sojern's case, we look at like intent data and confirmation data in travel. So it could be where people are possibly traveling to and between. And then there's probabilistic. So that's kind of how you build out your lookalike audiences based on what kind of data you have to try and extend your reach and to try and reach new customers. So I'd say those would be the two main buckets which you could play in.
John, you work at Buzzeff. If you can quickly describe to us what Buzzeff does, because that seems to be the unique aspect of things before I follow on a question for you.
We are a native video in read format.
Can you hear him?
No. We are a native video in read format. So we work with a number of publishers across the Middle East. And our job, of course, is to deliver a quality audience to the advertiser. So we use the data in order to kind of identify the right data for the right ad. This is exactly what we do.
I'm going to go back to you before I jump onto the next question, which is the types of data in terms of whether I own it or I don't own it. If I know who my customers are, is this all I need? Do I rely on other people to give me additional data? Is there such a thing? How do you categorize these and what are the differences between them?
Okay, there are three types, let's say, of data.
Okay.
There is the what we call is the first-party data.
Yes.
Data that the client itself or the advertiser owns and have access to.
Okay.
Let's say the CRM data that you have. And then there is the second type where the publisher that itself has information about their audiences, the traffic that come on their websites. And then we have third-party data. Third-party organizations providing multiple data, demographic, behavioral, and more than different types of, let's say, of data. So if you advertisers have access to all these three data or types of data, And if you merge them together, then you can, let's say, reach the ultimate targeting options that you can do to have an effective and efficient marketing activity.
Stewart, what kinds of these data do you utilize on a regular basis?
If you look at Sojern, we're using a lot of first-party data. So we have what we call data partnerships with the world's leading airlines, meta-search and OTA partners. And that enables us to access their search and confirmation data. So this is all anonymous data, but it allows us to see where people are traveling to, how long they're traveling for, who they're traveling with, and obviously where they're traveling to, so origination and destination. But then sometimes we also tap into third-party data because we believe, that's also a channel that's valuable, and you can actually drive conversions for travel advertisers by using third-party data. And that's kind of overlaid with first-party data. So you can kind of get a mix, but within Sojern, we believe the first-party data is the most powerful type of data we can utilize to drive conversions for our travel advertisers.
So you have data about somebody who's traveling with their family from Riyadh to Dubai.
Correct.
What happens next?
We collect that data. Then we'll match it, for example, with an advertiser. So, for example, if somebody's traveling from Riyadh to Dubai, we might potentially have a hotel advertiser. So let's say Marriott Hotels in Dubai who are looking to attract Saudis into Dubai for weekend stays. So what we can do then is take that data, match it to a person based on their cookie IDs. So cookie ID is basically ID everyone has when they're online. And then we'll serve advertising to that person through what we call programmatic channels. So that enables us to leverage and use and create a one-on-one communication between a brand, an advertiser, as well as an end user to actually influence that person's purchase decisions.
Can you describe what channels this thing can happen on? Is it on social?
Yeah.
Is it on mobile?
Across the board, really. So primarily we're doing a lot of display advertising. We also advertise on mobile. We can reach people on mobile. We video, so more upper funnel activity across video on YouTube and TrueView, those kind of formats. And then even getting really clever and in-depth and actually linking it across devices. So monitoring and following the same user between a desktop or laptop to his mobile device.
A little bit creepy.
A little bit, but it is anonymous, and it's creating value within the market, I think, by actually showing people advertising that they want to see or are interested in.
John, you serve a lot of video to a lot of consumers and audiences.
Yes, we do.
You more or less have YouTube and Facebook and all the big guns competing with you.
Yeah.
We know that Saudi Arabia has the highest consumption of YouTube videos per capita in the world.
Yes.
But then again, it's a closed platform. And the advantage that you guys give is obviously open data for the marketeers, open data for whether it's third party, first party, or second party. If I were an advertiser who went on to you and said, I have 3 videos. This one is for sports fans. This one is for women, and the third one is for youth, let's say. How does your system serve this content to different people? Is it by knowing who I am? Is it by looking at what kind of article I'm looking at? How do you differentiate and target and optimize that user experience from a Buzzeff point of view?
Well, first, when we have a clear idea about the objective of your campaign, and a clear idea about the audience that you want to target, of course, demographically is extremely important. Then we understand, for instance, you just mentioned sports, right? So we look at all the publishers that we have that have a relevant content related to sports. And then again, demographically, we identify the list that are relevant to you and to your campaign and to your objective. And we start to run the campaign through this platform. Our business model is on a full, complete view. So it means the ad must be relevant to the content and relevant to the viewer as well. Otherwise, he's simply going to skip it and you're not going to pay for it.
Okay, so only once the video is completely viewed,
yes,
you guys actually charge for it.
Yes.
So it's a CPV, I guess,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Is that what the term is
Cost
today?
per complete view, yes.
Cost per complete view.
Yes.
There's a complete part
yes,
of it. Okay.
CPCV. Yeah. CPCV.
Just to add a little bit more letters into those acronyms. If I were to look at, again, you mentioned something very important, that's objectives, right? Marketers have to start with objectives, and those objectives can vary.
Right.
From an advertiser point of view, from a content creation point of view, and from a distribution of media point of view, how do you work with brands on setting those objectives and on customizing the content accordingly?
Yeah, what happens is we are at Initiative. We can kind of, let's say, categorize different industries for our clients besides their existing industry. So, okay, even if you have, let's say, two clients in a certain industry.
2 banks, let's say.
Let's say 2 banks, for example. One of them, let's say, their objective is conversions. So we'll have a different approach, different strategy versus the other one who was looking for more awareness about their brand, let's say, or ad recall. It depends on the objective that they set at the beginning of the campaign. So by setting objectives, you are actually starting the way of strategic planning and start properly, let's say, to plan for your campaign and to actually work on the KPIs and deliverables that you agree with the clients. Using data will also change the things we do, and actually the objectives sometimes determine whether we go for the first-party data or second-party data or even the third-party data. So it changes a lot of things when you set your objectives. And even if you set your objective and then, let's say, you wouldn't be able to achieve them through the available data that you have, maybe you need to tweak your objective a bit to fit the, let's say, the data you have in hand right
So the
now.
data might affect your objectives and the other way around.
Yes, exactly.
Very interesting. Stewart, do you agree with that? I came to you, I'm like, I have this beautiful data that I collected, and it's actually useless. How can you help me with that?
So we'll look at all different types of data, okay? So it's not, when we are working with advertisers, whether it be an airline, a hotel group, car rental, attraction, etc. Sorry, is that better? Yeah, so we're working across multiple different types of advertisers. So, and it's not just we'll set the objectives at the beginning and we'll leave it. We're constantly tweaking on a daily basis. So you'll have your machine learning technology and algorithms who would work behind the scenes to utilize and activate the best types of data. But then we also have a team in-house who are actually looking at these campaigns and seeing what kind of data sets are working, what kind of audiences can we reach by using different types of data, and then monitoring it and constantly trying to improve what we're doing to be able to reach clients' objectives. Naturally, these objectives are different for different types of travel brands we're working with, if it's an airline, if it's a hotel group, etc. So it works around how you best understand and you keep an open communication with your clients to be able to maximize their performance.
Do you help? So if I came to you, I'm a new travel agency, or I'm a new hotel that's just working with you. Would you give me information that I don't have?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at what we do and the kind of data we have, I mean, globally we have around 350 million unique monthly profiles. So within those profiles are broken down by region and by country, and each country will have different types of travel trends. Like the travel windows will be different, so how far in advance people are booking, how long they're traveling for, what kind of destinations they're going to. So it's really working with advertisers to predetermine who their audiences are they're looking to attract, and then applying the different types of data to those particular campaigns they're running with us.
Okay. John, when it comes to video, why do you think video is quite interesting for brands?
Everybody's saying video is the future, and it's the leading digital platform across all, and I can't agree more. And
are there particular objectives that video achieves that an article can't?
I think there is a shifting, and again, this is coming from the satellite TV and to online. And again, this is one of the most effective and big budget as of today in our region. And mainly the shifting is happening online, and online TV is the major impact on the success of video. And again, our type of video is more relevant because it's native. And again, everybody's saying that native video is the future when it comes to digital video.
Can you explain to our audience what native video is versus regular video?
Sorry?
Can you explain to our audience what native video is, or what you mean by native video?
Yes. The native video is obviously a video that comes within a content without you really, or without jeopardizing the user experience. So while you are reading an article or on a specific website, this video will come natively, like normally, or like so. And it doesn't really jeopardize your experience, and it's not forcing you as well to watch it, and it's relevant to the content, and that's why it's called native, to my knowledge.
Fahad, when advertisers come to you and say, we want video, is it one video fits all? Is it a TV thing in some case, an online thing in another? Is it always TV if it's a particular objective? How do you handle the reduction in demand, let's say, from an audience point of view of TV, or is there such a reduction in demand from an audience point of view?
Okay, how we look to things at Initiative is a bit different. We don't go by channel itself, so when we go to the client or to start planning for starting our strategy, we don't look to TV versus radio, let's say, then digital you have. No, we look at the content itself.
Okay.
So we have video that includes online video, mobile video, whether it's, let's say, on online programs or shows, for example, Shahid.net, or it's a quick video, user-generated videos like YouTube. So we put everything
in the same pool as video.
In the same video, it's video.
So whether it ends up with Buzzeff or whether it ends up on TV, it's a piece of video.
Exactly, it's a piece of video. And then we have display, whether you see an ad on the street or you see it on a banner on a website, it's a display. So the content of the advertisement creative or material we are using determines where we put it in as a category.
So to define your splits, we're talking content that's read, that's
content that's read,
content
viewed,
that's heard, audio,
exactly,
viewed as visuals, and then video. And these are the four main categories.
Exactly.
Okay. And from a budgeting point of view, how does that go about? Because if I were to look at what I need to spend on TV, it's not equivalent to what I need to spend on YouTube, or is it?
So what we are trying to do is, by doing these categories, by video, audio, and display on social media, we split it social media because it's a different way to...
because it's a closed platform, I guess?
It's a closed platforms. People's behavior on social media is way different than watching a video on YouTube or reading an article on a website. It's a more of an engagement platform rather than just a way, let's say, one way of communication. So what we do is we're trying to keep the budget per content type. So we can shuffle the budget between the different channels within each category, depending on the objective, KPIs that we have, and the performance of each campaign.
So an advertorial can never get a budget from a video, let's say.
Sorry?
An advertorial can never get a piece of the budget of a video, or vice versa.
We can, but let's say the initial split of budget based on these platforms. Okay. If we need to shuffle budget from a category to another category based on certain criteria, we can do this. But the initial split give you a flexibility to work on each content. And again, the same thing happens on the creative itself. So the video you are running on TV should be different from the one you are running on YouTube, should be different from the one you are running on social media. On social media, people are scanning through their timeline very fast. You need to grab their attention in a few seconds. Whether on YouTube, you still have more time. It's not that big, so we have 5 seconds. So we have 5 seconds to capture their attention. On TV, you have a lot more time to do this. So we need to tweak our creative based on the channel that we are using. Even on display, let's say if you are having an outdoor campaign, you have a few seconds to capture for the user or the consumer itself to read your message. While in display, with the animation that you have, you can kind of grab his attention. You can have, let's say, a longer message. On video, you can actually give your message in a different way, in a longer way, in a certain of a creative way. So you still have the attention. The video format actually gives you more flexibility to deliver a message.
I'm going to ask Stewart this question, but I also want to see what both of you also think about it. In the time of, in this day and age, budget cuts are everywhere. Unfortunately, the first thing that happens is the marketing budget gets cut because the sales needs to keep pushing to bring back that money into the marketing. If I come to you as a brand and I say, my budget has been cut, how can you help me effectively, if I reduce my budget by 20%, does it mean my entire communication platform or effectiveness is cut down by 20%, or is there a way by which this can be optimized?
It can be optimized, and I think it depends on the channels and your split on how you're spending money by channels. I mean, I think in digital, we're in quite a fortunate situation. The digital budgets are actually growing, even though the overall budget cuts are happening. So it's a lot more of some of the offline channels that potentially get affected a bit more than that. If you're working within digital and or the digital economy is growing, the amount of people coming online is increasing all the time. I mean, people on mobile devices now, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's staggering, some of the numbers, especially like in this region. So, I mean, we don't necessarily get affected too much by the digital side of things. I mean, I think digital is also good is that although sometimes it's a victim of its own success, in that you can always measure against KPIs, you can measure against things like click-through rates, conversions, all those kind of activities. So that's kind of what the advertisers are looking for and what they like. In the space we operate in, programmatic is also a growing area within digital, as well as social and video and all those kind of things. So if you're actually showing value to customers in their overall scheme of things, I think in digital we can still kind of fight our own corner and make sure that our budgets keep on increasing due to some of the reasons I mentioned.
Okay, and John, how do you feel about clients cutting their budgets, and how do you convince them to optimize it, and what kind of effective data do you come back to them with to kind of help them make that decision?
Story of my life.
The story of your life.
Yeah. Obviously, we focus on return on investment, and we try as much as possible to utilize and use our data smartly to make sure that each and every campaign has a proper return as the expectation of the customer or the brand. It's quite tricky, and I also want to take this as an opportunity to comment on engagement on video.
Yes.
So I would like to say that we also implement this engagement service on video. So on our video platform, you have all the logos and icons of all social media. So in fact, you can share this video. Also, it can be used as a gate to direct you to fill a form or to visit a website of a brand. So this also is
so you can share or act upon it in addition to viewing.
Yes, yes. In fact, it's quite tricky, and especially when the client has a current budget, he starts to ask or get more into details when it comes to data. So as much as we can, of course, we provide all the required information, and we start with, if it's an existing customer with us, we start to minimize the number of publishers and focus more on the areas that he want to reach, and also our strengths. So geographically, we have areas where we are very strong, like Saudi and UAE, and Egypt as well. So we try to serve our customers with the area of strengths that we have in our hand, and usually it is successful so far.
Okay, that answers my question. Now we've taken a look at the kinds of content, the types of data, and a little bit about the efficiency and the effectiveness. I want to quickly probe the audience to see what kind of industries they come from. So if I just have a show of hands, anyone from brands in the audience? Quickly raise your hands. Also the ladies, I can see you if you can't see me. No brands. Startups, entrepreneurs? 1, 2, 3, well, equally 3 on the ladies' side. Publishers, content creators? Again, not a lot. Creative and media agencies? Okay, we have a nice mix, actually, of everything. So let's talk about the user journey. So I went on and I searched for tickets to Dubai. I'm going to start with that journey and see how actually flows across all of this, and see how machine learning and artificial intelligence and decisions happen on all of this. Let's take them through that journey that was actually, in a flow chart in the previous talk. So I searched for flights from Riyadh to Dubai. I went on Google, I went on any platform, I did my search, and then I went onto a site that, let's say, Sojern handles from a publisher point of view. What do I see? Stewart.
So depending, normally, the standard activity would be a display ad. So you'd see, for example, an Emirates flight ad giving you an offer on ticket to Dubai.
Is it a reduced offer? Is it an offer that I would only get through this banner?
It depends on the type of activity they're running. So if it's as part of a brand campaign, probably not. But if it's a tactical push, then there would be fares included on it. So that would be standard. I mean, if we take that a step further, I mean, to improve results, what we're starting to do a lot now are things like dynamic creative. So this is actually feeding in through live pricing, depending on the date you're searching for, depending on how many people are traveling, etc. So you kind of definitely there even taking that one-on-one communication a step further. So if you had to look today, and then John had to look tomorrow for a family of 4, we could show him different pricing over different dates, different types of offer. So it does really get quite complex, but I mean, all that is improving performance and how we can essentially show people ads on the display side of things. You did touch on native, so native advertising is something we're starting to use a lot of now. So it's placing an ad into content on basically any page, really. Through systems we work with Google to be able to do that, and that has a lot higher click-through rates and better engagement than your normal traditional display ads.
Okay, so let's go back to at least the message that I get as a user. Yes, so does it say, hey Fawzi, we know you're flying to Dubai tomorrow with your family. Here's a discount for you?
Sure. No, it doesn't say that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's creepy.
All the data we have, so it's not that creepy, but yeah, I mean, all the data we do collect is anonymous data. So we might know that somebody is traveling from point A to point B, but that's all we know as far as the identity of that.
So I get a message that
user.
says, fly on Emirates to Dubai at a special rate with your family or something like that. All right, I click. I decide I'm not interested. Do I see this banner again?
Depends on where you are in the journey. So if you've just started and it might be your first search or first visit or your first engagement with a particular ad, you might still see it a couple of times. I mean, we have things like frequency caps, which limit the amount of times we can show an ad to a particular person. But then we also look at booking patterns. So a lot of the times we would see that you made a search and then you've also made a booking. So then we wouldn't obviously advertise to you. But if we can see you're still in the market, you've gone onto an OTA website or you've gone onto Skyscanner or a meta search, for example, we can still see you're in the market for a flight to Dubai. Then we probably would still be engaging with you and serving ads.
Okay.
Within that frequency cap.
You guys are not done with that. I'm just going to, but I'm going to quickly ask about a video engagement. You said you watch a video, you click, you might register and fill up a form. Yes?
Right.
I filled up this form. Now, do you now add that to your data and you know that these people have actually acted upon it so that now I can go back to another advertiser and say, these people actually really fill up forms when they see videos. So let's serve them similar things? Or does it just end there and then you start again and you collect the data one more time?
No, of course it doesn't end there because once we have an active user, we make sure that we communicate to him, again, a relevant content and a relevant video. It doesn't really mean if you are interested in car, it means I can send you the same form for Pizza Hut or for other brand. I need to make sure because it is related to the content that you're reading. So, and some can be active in a specific content and some cannot. It's quite tricky behavior, but yes, we will definitely add you to the criteria of an active user, but it doesn't mean that you will again be active in another area of interest where you're reading and you're seeing the video. But I cannot really say what's the conversion rate here. It's quite tricky.
I guess it's up to a machine to decide.
Yeah,
which brings
100%.
us to the algorithms and the analytics that I wanted to ask you about, Fahad. So an advertiser comes to you and says, well, great, let's create a message that targets mothers, and I'd like another message that targets youth, and then a third one that targets professionals. And I want this on YouTube. Is this doable?
Yes, it is.
And how?
Basically, what you can do is you can have multiple messages or multiple creative for the campaign, and then you can target a specific segment for each creative. So we have one for, let's say, females, one for males, one for youth, let's say, and so on. So we can have specified material for each segment. This is the traditional way, let's say, of doing it. And then we have the dynamic ads. So going back to your example, if you searched about a hotel, let's say, or a flight to Dubai, if the same platform is running a marketing activity or a campaign on their own websites, they can connect their own marketing tool to their CRM. So
Okay.
yes, they know that Fawzi have searched for a flight to Dubai, and they can run an ad that says, "Hi Fawzi, do you want to get a 10%, let's say, discount on the next flight to Dubai?"
Okay, and if Fawzi does not respond to this, what happens next?
Then we have something that's called dynamic ads. So dynamic ads are basically a tool that changes the creative based on the behavior of the user. So for example, if you go to any hotel booking website and then you search for a hotel, let's say in Jeddah, but you didn't book anything, the next day you'll see that an ad that shows a different hotel with a lower cost, let's say, in Jeddah itself, at
Okay.
the same period.
So that's the decision tree.
Exactly, and
that's
it's
out there in
like a
terms of machine
decision
learning.
tree. Then you skip that one, another hotel with a cheaper cost, let's say, or cheaper prices comes, and so on. So based on your behavior, the message itself changes.
Interesting. There's a lot more that we can cover. I've been told that we have no more time. If somebody has a really important question, raise your hand now or forever hold your peace. Really important question. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a person there.
Sorry, Jad, I know I'm taking more time. You can introduce yourself and as quickly as possible.
Yeah, my name is Omar Anwar, and we are launching a new product, a platform, digital platform, soon, inshallah. My question is more of I need help. We need help as a company and a brand. So we have mountains of data coming to us from multiple streams.
Okay.
The issue is when you aggregate that data and merge it, you have duplication.
Okay.
How is there a product in the market, or is there a service utilizing AI, MI, or bots that can help us clean out the closet?
That's the question. Okay. Stewart, do you want to take it? I guess that's mostly...
I can try. I mean, I personally don't know of anyone, unfortunately. I mean, it's something we can look into. It's obviously a common problem. I mean, there's a lot of data out there. It's trying to understand and figure the data out. There's not an easy answer, I don't think. I mean, it's something that we spend some time with. I know, I'm sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you.
I guess you can ask him to do some research later and follow on. Gentlemen, it's been really exciting. We could talk about this forever. Really like to thank you again, Fahad, Stewart, and John. Thanks a lot. Thanks to our audience once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.